Welcome back to Bucko Banter, episode 195. We're talking trade deadline with friend of the show and beat reporter for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Noah Hiles. You're listening to the Bucko Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Or the steak by the plates, and in case after case, run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Welcome back to another episode of Bucko Banner. We're live today with our long-lost friend, Noah Hiles. I say long-lost because we haven't had you on in a while, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, I know. What the hell?
I know. It's Adam's decision.
Sorry. I helped build this program. I was your first guest.
I was so used to having you on every other week in the offseason. There's been a hole in my life, and that has been filled with your presence today.
Well, I'm glad to be back. All jokes aside, I did not build this. You guys have built something on your own, though. I mean, it's been cool to see how well you guys are doing. So,
thank you.
Got a big interview with Kutch. I mean, who would have thought that was coming?
I know.
You definitely didn't think it was coming.
I have my doubts. What do you want to talk about?
Let's. There's stuff going on. There's stuff happening. You're in San Francisco right now, and you're a busy man. So we're not going to keep you for too long. But the big news of the day, we're not going to spend too much.
Pirates swept the Giants. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. They're all the way back. 8 of the last 9. Ke'Bryan Hayes is no longer a Pittsburgh Pirate. And Scott and I just got done talking about this on our episode that's going to drop later on tomorrow. But what's your initial reaction? What's been going on behind the scenes? Was this always going to happen? Were there a lot of teams involved? And ultimately, the Reds, why is Pirates Twitter exploding over Ke'Bryan Hayes right now?
I'm not going to talk about Pirates Twitter. I'm just going to talk about the trade. Because Pirates Twitter, yeah. All right, so the trade, yes. I heard at the start of the month, maybe even a little bit before that, like late June, that there was a strong chance Ke'Bryan could get moved. I reported that in the beginning of July. Talked to a lot of sources, and it seemed like the Pirates really wanted to kind of end the time here with Ke'Bryan Hayes. It was just finding the right deal that made sense. There were a handful of teams interested. The Cubs, obviously, was one of the teams I reported. The Tigers, heard a few others, but I am a tsunami survivor.
I had to share that.
Yeah, thank you. But I think after the McMahon deal, I became skeptical just because I was like, I don't know who would really want him, because when you looked at the other options at third base, like Arenado's available, right? And of course, Gino Suarez is like the big crown jewel of this year's deadline. I was just thinking, like, where would this fit in? And sure enough, the Cincinnati Reds not only take Ke'Bryan Hayes, but they give up one of the top 10 prospects in their organization. They give away a pretty effective relief pitcher in Taylor Rogers, who I'm not necessarily sure he's ever going to play a game as a Pittsburgh Pirate. And some cash considerations as well. And I'm still working on finding the specifics on that detail of this trade. We'll get that ironed out. It's not my top priority right now, but we'll figure all of that out eventually. But my thoughts on the deal, I mean, again, Ke'Bryan Hayes is a valuable baseball player to the right team, just not this team. He is an elite defender, but this team needs offense. It needs, especially at the corner positions, especially in the infield. And when you look around the diamond, he's probably their worst power hitter out of everyone, which is saying something because, I mean, you look at shortstop, they have a future 20 home run bat on the way with Connor Griffin. You would like to think that would be the case, and he could be here as early as next year. Nick Gonzalez is probably not a 20 home run bat, but he can hit 10 to 15. Spencer Horwitz, who knows what he's capable of. But Ke'Bryan, I think it's fair to say that he's just going to be a defense-only guy, and he has a lot of club control. And for the Pirates, if you're going to have, even if their payroll does go up, let's just say it goes up to $100 million next year, which I know people are skeptical about, but let's operate even under the assumption that it does go up. I mean, Brian's eating close to 10% of that. And for you to allocate that much of your resources into a player who's not giving you anything offensively in an era of baseball where your money is spent on pitching and slugging percentage, that's where your money should be going toward.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense for the Pirates to hang on to that asset. So I think it's a clean slate at third base, a position that there's just a lot of really interesting options to go with for the future of that position for the Pirates. Not a lot of internal options, obviously. I think a lot of people just think Jared Triolo is going to be the everyday guy there moving forward. I disagree with that assertion. I think Jared Triolo is going to play a lot there this year. And I think if they want good defense at third base, they could bring Triolo in as a late game sub. They have him as a backup option. But you look at what they could do in the trade market at third base, like tomorrow or just down the road, like in the offseason. You look at some of the free agents that are available. And I know that there's warranted skepticism on their desire to spend in free agency. But if there were ever a situation that made sense, this is it. The free agency class is really good. And maybe while the Pirates aren't going to sign a Bregman or a Suarez, the team that does could look to move their third baseman, who is better than what the Pirates currently have, which is like no one. They don't have a third baseman right now. So overall, yeah, they got Hayes off the books. They get a clean slate at a corner infield position, gives them an opportunity to add some slugging, gives them an opportunity to reinvest some money. They get a top 10 prospect from the Reds organization. They get Taylor Rogers for at least a day. And I think this is a move that makes a lot of sense for the Pirates.
No, talking about the return, I mean, we talk about Taylor Rogers, who we anticipate being flipped. But do you think this was possibly a smart move on the Pirates front office? Because you see how the reliever market is moving right now. I mean, we just saw the Duran trade from the Twins. They got 2 top 100 prospects from the Phillies. I mean, Mick Abel and Eduardo Tait and Bednar and Santana. You got to think the price went up there. And then you got a chance to move another reliever with a 2.45 ERA. Do you think there's more to come here over the next 24 hours in adding upper level depth, or just maybe just adding depth in general to this organization with the relievers that they have?
I do. I mean, you look, like you said, Scott, like some of the biggest relievers are now off the board, and those needs are met. I mean, Seattle might be looking to add an extra reliever, but how much more pitching does that organization need, right? And they acquired Caleb Ferguson. That helps. And Philly got their guy. The Mets made a big move. So you look, I guess everyone's still shopping for relief pitching, but the Pirates are kind of the premier destination for that with what you just said, with Bednar, with Santana, and now with Rogers. I mean, look at what his brother just generated in that trade. I mean, I thought that was a very, very big payout.
And he's good. He's good.
Who's very effective. Yeah. I mean, obviously he lost yesterday's game for the Giants, but I mean, he is a nasty setup guy. And what he generated, I mean, you got to feel good that you have his twin brother who throws the ball completely different than him, but still, I think that was a nice little asset. And I understand that, these guys, guess what? I hate to break it to everybody watching, the millions of people at home watching this, they're not getting Shohei Ohtani for Taylor Rogers or Dennis Santana. Yeah. I mean, maybe Mookie Betts. We'll see. He's having a down year. I'm just kidding. If I said that on the Fan, that would be tweeted right now. But no, but I mean, I think it's just like the way the Pirates, if they're going to have a successful trade deadline, it's going to be moves in phases, right? And I think phase 1 is getting Key off the books here and creating a market for their relief pitching, and they're going to add prospects. And I think like the completion of this vision that they have probably isn't going to be met until the offseason, because I think that's when Keller is ultimately going to get moved. And that's when we're going to see some of these prospects make sense, rather than everyone's, asking, well, where are the big league bats? Well, they also need to supplement the farm system. And if you just trade some of these guys for their big league equivalent, you're not going to be fixing much. Whereas if you load up on prospects, you can have enough to maybe make more aggressive moves in the offseason, including Keller, and make your lineup better. So I know I just said a lot of words, but I think so far they've made the right moves.
Let's transition then, because we were just talking relievers, and Ryan Helsley is off the market now. Duran, obviously, Clase with that whole situation that's going on over there. That leaves David Bednar and another high leverage arm in Dennis Santana. But let's start with Bednar first. What are the talks right now on Bednar? Are they still likely to move him, or are they holding out to the last second to get the best package possible?
I mean, they're going to take it down to the wire. I thought personally that Helsley and Duran were going to be moved tomorrow. And I thought it was just going to be a boom, boom, boom. Those three, including Bednar, were going to be acquired or traded within an hour of each other. But now, I mean, I don't think this could have unfolded any more in an advantageous way for the Pirates, because now they have 24 hours essentially to field offers on David Bednar. You look at the Duran return. That's because I think that's probably because does Helsley have any other control, or is he a free agent?
I think he might have a year.
Okay.
I don't think he's a rental, but I could be wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, so we'll talk about the Duran return real quick. I mean, that's the one that stands out, right? Because they get 2 top 100 prospects from the Phillies. 2 of their top 6. Both of those guys are top 100 on MLB Pipeline. I think a lot of people see that and they think, wow, that's a pretty steep price. That's a big return. I have a source from a team connected to Bednar telling me right now that they feel that that's a bit of an underpay. So for a guy like Duran. So that tells me that teams would view that to be an appropriate return for Bednar. If they view that to be an underpay for Duran, who you could argue is perhaps as good, if not better, than Bednar.
He's younger too.
Younger and has an extra year of control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that's an underpay for Duran, then that might be what the asking price is, a fair asking price, albeit, for David Bednar. So now you have to sit here and think what team can provide that value. I really only think there's one. As far as prospects are concerned, I think there's one right now, and that's Detroit.
Right. Yeah, Detroit. I know Texas has been rumored to be interested, and there's other teams that are interested in relievers like Boston, but Detroit is who I have my eyes on. And I know that it's been rumored that the Pirates have had scouts at the AA affiliate up in Erie. They have a lot of their top prospects there. Let's talk about the Caleb Ferguson trade real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but they got a high upside arm, top 15 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, Jeter Martinez, a guy that our I guess you want to call it our sister podcast on our network, in Seattle, Marine Layer, they mentioned that he has a lot of upside. He just has struggled with strikes. He's a long ways away, but like he's got stuff. He's got the arm. This is about what we expected for Caleb Ferguson, right? Yeah,
and what you just described is the one thing the Pirates typically get well, right? Or get
lottery
right.
Ticket arm.
Yeah, lottery ticket arm with crazy stuff, can't find the zone. They've had a lot of success churning those guys out and turning them into top 100 prospects and effective big league pitchers. So, I mean, what are you expecting for Caleb Ferguson? I saw some people comparing him to Taylor Rogers.
No. I mean, he's
Tyler. People were comparing him to Tyler Rogers, the guy who got moved to the Mets. Is that where he got traded to? Yeah. Which, I mean, come on. Let's be real. Like, that's like Caleb Ferguson's a solid pitcher, but he's not your top 2. He's not a top 2 leverage.
He's not a high leverage guy.
Or he is on the Pirates, but not on a playoff team, right? And like that's no slight against Caleb. Like he will pitch innings this postseason, but he's not pitching the 8th or the 9th in a save situation. So I think what they got was fine. I don't know what more you could ask for. And that's the type of lottery ticket they should be going after for players like Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want a hitter, especially a guy in like double or triple A, you're getting more of what you already have in this organization. You're getting at best a quad A player probably in return. And I know that to the casual fan, you're saying, oh, look, they're adding offense. But are you? Do you need another Cam Devaney? You just got one. So I don't know. That's my take on it. I thought it was a fine return.
Let's talk Mitch Keller.
Okay.
Because that was the hottest name before all this Ke'Bryan Hayes news dropped. Where's Mitch Keller going to go? It's gone from he's absolutely getting dealt to maybe the Pirates hold on to him. What's the feel for it right now? And are there any potential suitors out there that are going to make a last minute push for Keller?
I mean, it's interesting, right? I know Boston is in the mix now. That's what I reported Tuesday. I just think it makes so much more sense to hold on to Mitch for the offseason, because I think the Pirates, from what I've heard, the Pirates view Mitch as their only real asset they're worth letting go of, that can bring back an established big league bat. Like, you can get the major league hitter equivalent of a Mitch Keller for Mitch Keller. You probably just can't get it on July 31st, because who's giving up that type of offense in the midst of a pennant run? It just doesn't make a lot of sense, or that type of value.
I mean, I've seen like a Joey Loperfido rumored who's hitting over 300 an hour for the Blue Jays. So like, why would the Blue Jays do that?
Right. Yeah. Now in the offseason, it makes a lot more sense. Like you look at the Blue Jays, you look at the Red Sox, like if you're going to depart with, and again, like these aren't names that have been brought up to me, but just a Duran, right? Or what's Abreu or someone like that, right? You do that in the offseason because you can replace them in free agency if you're the Red Sox. And so it's like, okay, yeah, we're just going to bring in Mitch Keller. We were signing this guy anyway. That's fine. Or you feel more confident in your prospect group if you're Boston. It also allows you to shop Mitch Keller to teams that aren't just looking to win the World Series right now. Yeah. I still think a team like Baltimore makes a ton of sense for Mitch Keller. They're a team that's been interested in him for years. And when you look at the position that just opened up at third base, Orioles have some guys that make a lot of sense for the Pirates at that spot. And it could be, like I said, guys, plural, as opposed to one player. So, yeah, I just think you have so much more opportunity trading Mitch in the offseason. And I know you run the risk of him having a second half regression or getting hurt, which you obviously don't want to see happen. It could tank his value. But I feel like if there's a safe bet on one player on this team, on what their value is just going to be, Mitch is that guy. I mean, he's been the same guy for 3 seasons now. He's been able to avoid injury. And I know the second half regression is a thing that's tagged to him, but even if it does happen, teams wanted him last year and they decided to hold on. We're going to know what Bubba Chandler looks like in the major leagues here soon. We might know what Hunter Barco looks like. The Pirates are going to know what their major league pitching staff will look like without Mitch Keller by the end of this season. Even though he will be a part of it, they will know what Mike Burrows looks like after a full major league season. They'll have a better idea on how they want to use Braxton Ashcraft, Carmen Mlodzinski. They can put together their own internal plan for life after Mitch, and they can continue those conversations on what they're going to ask for him. I think it just makes a lot more sense to hang on to him right now. Unless you're absolutely blown away. If they want to offer, if the Red Sox want to offer Abreu or Duran midseason, yeah, make that deal. I just don't see that happening. And I don't think the Pirates do either.
Outside of, Frazier, Hayes, Ferguson, who have been dealt, who do you think are the locks to be dealt before 6 p.m. tomorrow? Is it like a Heaney, IKF, Tommy Pham, or is there others? Yeah,
I think it's those 3. I candidly, I expected Heaney to get moved today. Just some conversations I had. I think it's funny that they have him listed as the starter
for tomorrow
for Friday's game, and I didn't even bother adding that in my story. I was like, that's just. There's no way that happens, right?
Not going to happen.
Yeah. I think all of those guys make a lot of sense. Those are the three obvious ones, right? I think Bednar has the highest likelihood of anyone that's not on an expiring deal. I mean, maybe Baraki could be moved too. They could activate him today now that they have an open 40-man spot or an open active roster spot. Activate him and trade him for anything. And same could go for Rogers. Just trade him before he even joins the team in Colorado. Those are the guys that I think would make sense because they're all expiring contracts. Bednar is the only long-term asset that I think has a high likelihood of being moved. Like I said, don't anticipate Mitch Keller. Haven't heard a ton on the Carlos Santana front as of late. Seems like the Pirates are willing to or would like to keep him for that final year of control he has, or at least take him into the offseason. Another name that I've had kind of come across my figurative desk here is Joey Bart. Some teams seem to have interest in him, not as a catcher, more so as just a bench bat that they can platoon against left-handed pitching. Don't know if that will happen, but that's a name I feel like it's worth mentioning because I've heard it from multiple places now.
We're talking Dennis Santana, right? So you said Carlos Santana, I think.
I did.
Okay.
Well, the Pirates aren't trading him again.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't think Dennis Santana is going to get moved?
No. And
Okay.
I don't think the Pirates are trading Carlos Santana either, but I think
Because I can't.
yeah, they can't. But they've done it before.
Right. They could do it again.
But not this time.
Not this time.
Not this year. And Dennis Santana, probably a higher likelihood of getting traded than Carlos Santana by the Pirates.
Right.
But I don't think he will get moved.
Is there anyone that you think would surprise people out there that people are besides O'Neal Cruz, which you reported on? Great story. Go find it at Post Gazette. Anyone else on the team that you think has been getting calls that the Pirates are listening to or they're fielding offers on?
The way the Hiles thing unfolded makes me wonder about Reynolds a bit. I haven't checked in on that camp. I just don't think, you want to talk about a salary dump. That would be exactly what that is. Where Hiles, I just view Hiles more as just like a blank slate. Like a salary dump in my eyes is just get rid of the money. We don't care what happens afterwards type thing. Where third base, I just think they weren't satisfied with the present or the future for Hiles. So I guess you could say the same thing applies to Reynolds. I don't know. I don't think they're as pessimistic about Reynolds' future as they were with Hayes'. Right. So yeah, I don't know. I don't anticipate Brian being traded, but the way Hayes' trade unfolded makes me wonder if maybe makes it a little bit more likely that something like that could happen with Reynolds, although I still don't think it's very likely.
Interesting. Well, Noah, appreciate you coming on and talking the trade deadline with us. And, I know there's a lot that could happen over the next, less than 24 hours here. Deadline's tomorrow at 6 p.m. They want to build the best roster possible for the Wolf game on September 2nd. Everyone mark your calendars.
Soft launch.
No idea what we're talking about.
No idea. September 2nd. No, where can everybody find your work?
At the press box on September 2nd against the Dodgers. Post-gazette.com is where you can read my work. Yeah, it's time to go before we, bore people to death with our inside jokes. Yeah,
absolutely.
But
No,
Thanks,
as always,
guys.
appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully we'll have some news to break here in the next 24 hours. So good luck the rest of the way. Rooting for you.
Ow.
Later, guys.